Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Good Morning Hudson. This is one of our membership meetings for the Hudson Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Bureau. My name is Mary Claire Olson-Potter, president of the Chamber, and we're so pleased to have the candidates with us this morning. So thank you for being here, and thank you all for your participation today. A couple thank yous. Thank you to Pam and Lisa and her team, and the Christensen, I always say that, Christian Community Homes. Why do I think it happened.
First time that slipped out.
I know, I'm very sorry. Christian Community Home, CCH, for hosting us today, so a round of applause. So just a couple agenda items, that are on your agenda. I want to talk about some couple events. Tomorrow we do our Let's Do Lunch event. It's our monthly gathering. We go to support different restaurants, which since COVID has been a very good thing to do during the lunch hours. So we're going to be at Lolo's tomorrow at noon. So you can still sign up to join us for that. We have our March Lucky Clover coming up. We've made it almost through February, and it is March, and the Lucky Clover is a really fun program. You will see over 50 businesses and organizations included on this Lucky Clover, and you can come to the Hudson Chamber of Commerce, and we'll just give you a sticker for free because you stopped by to say hi to us. But the other places you do spend money, but it's a great way to support businesses during the March timeframe, which can sometimes be a little quiet. So pick up your Lucky Clover card. We have lots of those. Our next Connections and Coffee, which is, again, a monthly meeting that we do on the first Tuesday of every month, is going to be March 3rd at 9 o'clock at Citizens State Bank. And then on March 6th, we are celebrating our Good Morning Hudson program with International Women's Day. And we have been doing that event for 6 or 7 years. It's always a very inspirational meeting. We have panelists that have some great stories and inspiring stories to talk about. So I encourage you to come to that on March 6th. And then we also have sign-up sheets for the Hudson Community Expo, which is going to be on Sunday, May 3rd, up at Hudson High School. Last year we had over 100 vendors, and we had over, not that we keep track, we had 1,540 people that attended that event. So it's a great way to promote your business or your organization at that event on Sunday, May 3rd. So we'd love to see you there. So before I introduce Chris Kost, who's going to moderate today's program, what we wanted to do is, one of the many benefits of attending chamber events is the opportunity to make connections. So we're just going to quickly go around the room and invite each of you to introduce yourself and the company you are with, and that'll also let our speakers know who's in the room today. So Leanne, if I can start with you. Great, thank you. So before I introduce Chris, you do have in front of you a sheet of paper. So this is an opportunity, if you have any questions for the candidates, we have a couple questions that they were aware of, right? You all look at me. I have them written in front of you too, so you have a both.
Questions?
Yeah. Yes, Mike, thank you, I appreciate that. And we are going to let the panelists introduce themselves, but if you have questions while they're speaking, feel free to write it down, and I will pick it up and give it to Chris, and then as time allows, we'll be able to get those questions answered. So at this time, please join me in welcoming Chris Kost to moderate today's program. Thank you, Chris.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you, Mary Claire and Corinna. The Chamber is an amazing organization supporting the St. Croix Valley area. It's not just the Chamber, but it's the tourism as well. And for those of you that have been members for a long time, you know the value that the Chamber gives to you. And those that are brand new, welcome. Chamber is amazing. There's lots of opportunities to get involved. So this morning, we're going to invite our candidates this morning. And we'd like to start at the very end. And we're going to start with Lynn. Do you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Lynn Wakefield. I'm District 2 alderperson. I have been a 40-year resident of Hudson, originally born in Minnesota, moved here in 1985. I am a 30-year teacher, retired, and now work part-time at U.S. Bank as peak time teller. I raised my family here. In fact, my son and his wife and their family bought his childhood home when I downsized and moved out. I have a daughter that lives in Minnesota. She's married to a Minneapolis firefighter, so they live on that side of the river. I enjoy golfing and other activities. One of the things I really enjoy, though, is I'm a CASA volunteer, which is a court-appointed special advocate that works with kids in the CPS system as their advocate as parents navigate through the system. And that's something I find very rewarding.
And Mike. I'm Mike Kennedy, and I am the alderperson for District 4. I grew up in St. Paul, went to school there, and graduated from St. John's. And while I was living in St. Paul, I got probably, I think it was 1997, I was boating, and I used to come to this place called Hudson on the St. Croix. And I thought, what a neat place. You know, when you're on vacation, you're like, oh man, I could live here. This would be great. Well, I actually did that, and love every part of that. So moved here in I think '98, built a house in Red Cedar Canyon. My wife Sarah and I have gotten 3 boys through the EP Rock, Hudson Middle School, and Hudson High School. They all graduated. They're off. My oldest son, Charlie's in the Navy. Sam's working in St. Paul and living there. And youngest, Chase, just passed his, I don't know, you even know what it's called, airframe. So he's going to be an airplane mechanic. So very proud of that, and they all can use Hudson High School as kind of their background on that. I was interested in running 4 years ago and really enjoyed it. I was on the park board prior to that. Really enjoy that. I think we've gotten some really good things done on the park board. I remain on the park board and have really enjoyed getting to know people and kind of helping them maybe not solve all their problems, but making the connections that they need, and look forward to continuing to do so.
And Kelly.
Perfect, yeah. Hi, my name is Kelli Shanley Anderson. I grew up in West Lakeland, Minnesota, and I am one of 9 children. Graduated from Stillwater in 1981. And 15 years ago, my husband and I decided to make Hudson home. Obviously, growing up in West Lakeland, we were in Hudson a lot. It was really the closest location for shopping and so on. And just growing up, I'm sure, spent a lot of time in my grown-up years here in Hudson. I am the mother of 3 daughters, 2 stepdaughters, and 1 stepson. And I am so blessed to have 7 grandchildren who I spend a lot of time with. I worked for Lina Healthcare. It's in Minnesota and then West Wisconsin. I worked there for 34 years as a corporate compliance director. So I serviced the entire system in that role. I see some people kind of smiling because the healthcare folks here definitely know the world of compliance. My focus in that role, I was responsible for ethics, privacy matters, or better known as HIPAA, code of conduct, and strongly a focus on Medicare and Medicaid billing. So billing was a big focus of the work that we did in that. And basically, though, all insurance types, it really didn't, no one wanted to pay you more than what you were supposed to get. My career, I feel like, really provided me with a deep commitment to integrity, accountability, and leadership. So I was fortunate enough to have to retire early 2 years ago, and I currently actually work at the front desk at the YMCA. That is my absolute happy place. I get to see members of our community every single day, and I'll tell you, that fills my cup. So I know that Chris knows that very well. I also currently serve on the Downtown Parking Commission, and I've been on the commission for a few years right now, or for a while. And I will tell you that experience sparked my desire to serve the community of Hudson. So that's me.
Christopher.
Hi, my name is Christopher Rivard. I'm also running for District 3. If you don't know which District 3 is, it's the district that you're in right now. I was asked, I'm running for District 3. I was asked by some members of the community to try to run and create this robust conversation that we're now involved in, that it wasn't just 3 people running unopposed, but that there would be a conversation about it. I've lived in Hudson for the past 20 years, living in District 3 for 10 of those years. I moved to Hudson to start a job implementing database systems used by municipalities to track their property taxes. So my day-to-day is dealing with things that the city and also at the county level that people need to understand how to use. And so I've sat across the table from many municipal employees and elected officials, helping them understand their systems. For these 10 years, when I first moved to town, I had a son, graduated probably with Kelly's daughter.
Yep.
And since moving to town, I have remarried, and I have another son, also still in the district. He's 12 years old, 6th grade. And since I've lived in town, I've been involved in the Friends of the Hudson Library, and also in the EP Rock parent group. Thanks.
Okay. We're going to jump right into the questions, and we're going to give Lynn and Mike a couple minutes off here so you can just sit back and listen. But the first question, it's going to be 2 minutes for each question. When I give you the high five, that means you have 30 seconds left. Okay? And we're going to start with Kelli. What is your interest in serving the Hudson Common Council and representing District 3?
All right. Well, my main reason for running for the Hudson City Council to represent District 3 is simple. I love this community. Hudson is a special place, and I deeply care about its future. I intend to build real relationships with the residents of District 3, listen to their concerns, and truly understand what matters to them most. Every neighborhood in this community has different needs. They all are unique. And with effective leadership, it really means to be present, listen, try to understand what's going on in our community. As I mentioned, I am currently a member of the Downtown Parking Committee, and through this experience and my previous work in Allina Health, I know how complex budgets are and the challenges that we all have to work through to achieve success. You probably attended or watched the budget hearings last fall and know we are at levy limits in the city of Hudson. This means we have budget limitations and cannot tax our residents any further right now. So we have to work with what we have. This does cause many challenges, and as a member of the council, critical decisions must be made to stay within those limitations that we have today. My work on the Downtown Parking Commission has also provided me with the opportunity to meet and work with some of the city leaders. And through this, I know our levy limits are dependent upon annual new construction, and we are currently at our geographic limits for growth. However, we do need to grow. I am running because I believe I can make a positive difference. I bring a collaborative mindset, a strong work ethic, and a commitment to practical solutions. My goal is to serve with integrity, transparency, and a focus on what's best for our entire community. Through my past work and my background, I feel like I can hit the ground running. Hudson has given so much to me, and I am ready and willing to give back.
Thank you, Kelli. Christopher, same question. What is your interest in serving the Hudson Common Council and representing District 3?
One of the main motivations is like Lynn said, is the infrastructure, the current challenges that our city faces as far as funding, and being able to produce a plan to address those needs, and then work moving forward to make sure that those issues are addressed, not just now, but throughout through the future, so that we're not just continually kicking those responsibilities down the road, that we are making a well-managed plan to address those needs within our community, and also, where possible, growing our community. We're not going to have the same sort of growth that we've had for the past 30 or 40 years. That's grown Hudson immensely, but that we'll need to maybe look at some more dense some dense resourcing of our capital.
Okay. Okay, we're going to start with you this time, Christopher, on the next question, which is, what are your main priorities as a District 3 representative if you are elected?
While there aren't a lot of parks in District 3, I think there's only the newest park in District 3. I would really like to see some maintenance and some I can't think of the word. Some improvements and also marketing of our existing parks. A lot of our parks have kind of inconsistent signage and display of what the park is. I know I lived here for many years before I realized that the little park on Vine Street was actually Vine Street Square. There's nothing that tells people that that's what it is, but it's definitely something that the people in that neighborhood enjoy. There's also Coon Hill Park, which is nearby, that is also a park, but is not really indicated that there's a signage that says, the hours and things like that, but there's nothing that indicates what it is, why it's there. And so I would really love to see some better visibility of our parks and how they contribute to our community, and the people that live in those neighborhoods love them.
Sure. Thank you, Chris. I'm running for the Hudson City Council because Hudson isn't just where I live, it's home to me. As I mentioned earlier, we are at a critical junction for our Hudson City budget. And as I listened to the budget presentations last fall, if we cannot grow and expand our city boundary limits, we're going to be faced with cuts that no one wants to make. I believe in two core responsibilities of local government: protecting taxpayers and protecting public safety. In our city, raising taxes cannot be the answer due to the levy limits, and cutting police or fire services is not an answer either. The path forward that we must choose has to be focused on disciplined budgeting, transparency, accountability, and smarter operations. We need to evaluate our programs carefully, pursue alternative funding if there are any available, modernize where it's possible, and focus on resources on what truly matters most to our residents. Through my work at the YMCA, I see the power of community firsthand. Kids learning through teamwork, families supporting one another, and our neighbors and our senior populations coming together in times of need. One example that I'll share with you that I see day in and day out when I'm at that front desk is our senior population and their ability to get to the YMCA. We currently have transportation that provides seniors both to places within town, wherever they want to go. And without that, they have shared with me, they could not get out of their home safely. Through the challenges we are facing, we must make sure, we have to maintain public safety, and our police and fire are critical to this. And we have to be thoughtful with our planning as our city grows. And I want to ensure that Hudson continues to grow in a way that keeps our neighborhoods safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Lynn and Mike, your turn now. But first, thank you for serving. Usually when you take an elected position, it's a thankless job. So thank you for your time and your support for our community. So first question, we'll start with Lynn. What are you most proud of from your time serving the council?
How I got on council, I replaced another council person who had to leave, and fortunately that person served on the Public Safety Committee, and so I got to take that position. Our public safety group has done, I just think, an amazing job of looking out for the safety of all of Hudson. One of the things we did was create a traffic safety committee so that decisions based on concerns of residents regarding traffic or other concerns of roads in Hudson, it went through that first so that it wasn't just us deciding. It was looking at first responders. It was looking at traffic patterns. It was looking at the safety if changes were made to that. So I'm really proud that that is in place now so that we can address traffic safety concerns. The second thing is the CAD to CAD program. It's a communication for dispatchers to our first responders. It's been going on far too long with very little progress, and thanks to Randy and John from the EMS, we actually got a meeting with the groups in charge of that CAD to CAD program and have better answers and are kind of holding them more accountable for better communication and progress as we go through that. I also am on the Joint Fire Board, and I'll talk more about that later in the other part.
Thank you. Mike, same question. What are you most proud of your time serving the council?
Thanks. Yeah, there are so many things that you could write down that I think we've accomplished. I say we because, it's not one city council person or one person. One person might have a larger interest, but we've really done a good job working together, and that's actually something I'm very proud of. The way that we've come together and with different backgrounds and different thoughts on projects, and we might battle it out, but we leave, and I think we truly all respect each other's opinion, and I think we call each other friends, and we kind of dust ourselves off and go to the next battle, and I think we need to keep it that way. This is the city of Hudson, the sleepy river town that doesn't need to get involved in politics and one side versus the other. So I'm proud that we've really kind of, we haven't had to battle that, but we've kept that to the bigger cities, et cetera. As far as actual projects, I mean, speaking from the parks, the new wharf at the down at the river, the shared ride service that we've implemented that has a lot of work to do to stabilize it and possibly grow it in the future. And two of the biggest things I think that we're working on right now is the new building for the police and for public works. It's the way that we chose those buildings really saved. We estimate between $12 and $15 million by going to a already existing building and retrofitting it. But as a boy, I was going to say former Boy Scout, but you're never a former Boy Scout. You're still a Boy Scout. We were taught to leave a campsite better than when we found it. And I kind of feel that our council is really prepping Hudson for the next 30, 40 years, whether it be our parks, public works, public safety, our water and sewer system, are really being built right now, not just fixing the edges, let's say, but really setting Hudson up for a successful next 30 years.
Which, Mike, we'll start with you, leads into the very next question. What are your priorities in your next term?
There's a lot of them. As we talked about, the budget is one thing that sounds like an odd thing to say we need to work on, but it's oftentimes a city will work on its budget, or a business even, and say, there, we did it for this year, we're done, and we close that envelope and put it away. We kind of need to keep that on top of our minds throughout the entire year. As you mentioned, we're at the top of levy limits, so we can't simply just say, let's bring in some more money. So we have to be creative on that. We run our city very lean and mean, and that's thanks to all the employees, from the heads of the department down to the seasonal workers. We're not fancy like some of the big cities. We try to get as much out of our investments and our equipment and our buildings as we can, but we want to be smart about that. So the focus there, I think, is to kind of keep the eye on the budget as it applies to all without cutting anything. I think about 45-50% of our budget this year is people. And a big chunk of that, too, is healthcare, as we know everywhere that's affecting it. So I think we need to concentrate on that. As far as infrastructure projects, we've done a good job trying to boost the budget for keeping our roads at least usable, if not improvement. We've got some serious issues we're addressing with the Locust Street project that's coming up, but we talked about the 11th Street Bridge. There's a lot of projects out there that we need to budget for and find creative ways to get around them. We can't, we can't just say, we'll wait till it breaks and then we'll figure out how to fix it. We need to be proactive on that.
And Lynn, same question. What are your priorities in your next term?
Well, one of my priorities, I serve on the Joint Fire Board. And as our area expands, the amount of area that our fire department is responsible for has grown. The number of people, the number of calls are inching up. Well, I shouldn't say inching up, going up. And call times are inching up because of that growth and expansion. We are at a point where I'm so proud of that board that they researched, got data, looked at other communities of similar size and populations, and are forward thinking in that we are going to need a full-time fire department. Running as a volunteer fire department, they're making it work right now, and that's just kudos to our fire department here, our volunteer fire department. But we do need a full-time firefighter, so that's one of my priorities. More information and education regarding that will be coming up. Again, with budgets, most likely could be more of a referendum rather than trying to jam it into the budget. The other thing is, I like the part about creatively thinking, not saying whether we should or shouldn't, but how can we? Well, we can't do that. We got to get rid of it. We can't afford that. Toss it out. Let's look at creative ways so we can keep that. I think Running Inc. was a perfect example, and I know you'd spoken to that at council meetings, that rather than we want to keep it and grow it, so we have to look at creative ways so that can happen.
You have 30 seconds, so
Okay.
this doesn't mean to stop you.
Okay. What a rule follower I am, huh?
Do you have anything else? No, that's it. Okay, thank you. We're going to head into our next set of questions, which are actually for all the candidates. But a reminder, you all have those notepads in front of you. Feel free to write questions, get them to Mary Claire. Mary Claire will get them up to me, and we will work through those questions once we get through these next few questions. So, Lynn, we're going to start with you. They were all some of the questions beforehand because this is a very long one. Workforce development is one of the Chamber's top priorities in 2026, and included is to help employers attract and retain the skilled workers they need to compete. Also included are workforce housing needs and access to transportation. Thinking about these issues, how can we all work together to ensure this area continues to grow and thrive?
Well, I guess one of the things I want to make sure we know that we currently have, I can think of 4 examples of Section 42 housing, which is based on the median income of a community. Brookstone, Mississippi Flats, Bella Rose, Gray's Landing, and there are also senior residential facilities that also follow Section 42, which again, income-based rent for that. So we do have that going on. There are issues, as we all know, where there isn't a lot of open space for developers to come in and build new right now. The cost of land, I mean, developers are in the business of being successful, and with the price of land, that is tricky. That doesn't mean we shouldn't, but we have to be creative about doing that. Also, there has been projects in the past that have been proposed, but have frankly been pushback from neighboring areas that while they might support workforce housing, they didn't want it put there. In addition to that, we've got the Running Inc. right now going. That started with the ARPA funds, and now the city is funding it. We need to be creative so we can keep that going and expand it so that not only is there access for those that are using it now, but also collecting data on who's using it and when it's most used, and maybe tailoring it a little bit better so that we can afford to keep that valuable resource.
Mike, same question.
Same question. Could you repeat? I'm just kidding.
Yes, I can repeat it.
I knew you saw that coming. So a couple parts to this question. How do we retain and attract skilled workers? I think we've done a really good job for that. Obviously, Hudson's desirable to live in, but I also know it's desirable for people to work in. It's a good city. It's a fun city to work in. But we have to work hard at keeping that. I think our business owners, specifically downtown, have done a great job They really communicate and partner together on that. But how do we keep it that way? It's kind of back to the nuts and bolts of we have to be a safe city, public safety, and good roads, decent parking. We have to manage our parking, but make it a safe and enjoyable place to come to work, and continue, like the chamber does, continue growing that and making it, businesses thriving downtown. As far as the workforce thing, which has been a topic ever since I've been part of this, we are very we're closed in. We've all heard the whole map story. So we have to be open to annexation because as Hudson needs to grow, it needs to expand somewhere. The idea of workforce housing downtown by the river is probably not very practical, but a different way to look at it. I know there's a particular project that's kind of in the meat grinder right now, but if you look at it, again, creatively, that type of housing can open up people. I'll use myself as an example. The same house I raised 3 boys in, I'm living there, just my wife and I, because we love Hudson. We don't have a need to move. We don't want to get out of here. But a new development like the one down the river could cause someone like me to say, let's go relocate there, opening up another house for another family to come in. And it's sort of like musical chairs. Once the music stops, nobody's moving. So we need to be creative with ways to get affordable housing in the area so we can get that flow of people transitioning to different houses. Thank the end.
Kelli.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So my thoughts on this, on the workforce development, is the city has to figure out, we have to find a way to support all of our businesses. And workforce development is really about alignment, aligning what employers need with how we train people, where they live, and how they get to work. First, we need strong partnerships between businesses, school, and potentially workforce training programs. The chamber can help identify skill gaps, and the city can help convene industry leaders, ensure our economic development efforts are tied to real job pathways. When people see a clear path to good local careers, our whole community will benefit. Secondly, we talk about workforce housing. And again, if people who power our economy cannot afford to live here, then growth will slow. And we need practical, as we've talked about, and creative solutions around this. Again, as our home construction growth is challenged for housing, our city has built 5 apartment buildings we've talked about, and we have another one under construction right now. We've talked about the Section 8, and we need to continue to build an infrastructure to support our workforce. And third, transportation is economic access. Reliable infrastructure, whether roads, transit, or regional activity, helps workers reach jobs and businesses reach talent. This is about collaboration between the city and the chamber and our businesses and education. And if we can meet all of this, we'll continue to grow and thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Christopher, same question.
Based on what everybody else has said, I've got much the same on my notes, but I've been really lucky when I moved to Hudson. I worked remotely even when it wasn't cool, and I still continue to work remotely for a company in Canada. So I'm really lucky in that aspect that I'm able to work from home and that I don't need to rely on transportation and things like that. But there are people in our community that do need that do need to live where they work, and sometimes that's harder on some of the positions and opportunities that are available in town. So I think that the city and county needs to help provide transit and workforce sorts of housing in the community such that people can afford to live and work in our community.
Okay, thank you. An interesting fact, the chamber has over 500 members. You think about how many people that the chamber serves. It's a great opportunity for the chamber and the city to work together to solve some of these issues that are facing our members. We're going to start with Christopher this time so you don't have to repeat what other people say. This next question is also kind of lengthy. Large projects, new buildings, and the Locust Street reconstruction will have an impact on the businesses. How will you, as a Common Council member, engage and support businesses through these projects?
I'm not really aware of any that are in our district, in this district, but in Mike and Lynn's district are the new municipal buildings, and so it would be great to have some. Maybe you guys or the mayor go out there and show what's going on with the development, like the mayor had done downtown with the waterfront development. It was really interesting to see those videos as things were happening, to know what was going on, and I think that's really what's important is to know what's going on so that people can kind of plan their activities around, construction or show up for a grand opening, those sorts of things. But I think communication is key, that there needs to be somebody that is communicating that information out to the community.
Kelly, same question.
Yep, thank you. I would start by focusing on what our community needs are. And we know that change is hard for everyone, but to grow and prosper in this community, change is inevitable. We've talked about, we know about the major projects downtown. One is and infrastructure improvements. One includes the apartment building downtown and then the Locust Street reconstruction. And they're both important for our long-term growth. But it's going to create short-term challenges for our businesses. As a council member, my priority would be to ensure proactive communication and partnership, as Chris had mentioned, and that means engaging business owners early on before construction begins so they understand timelines, phasing, access changing, and who to contact. Who is the person to contact if issues should arise? Surprises hurt our businesses. Clarity helps them plan. In my previous work in healthcare compliance, we routinely had to mitigate, whether that was for our public perception or patient care or patient, making sure that we're not putting patients at risk. I think we need mitigation strategies. We're going to have mitigation strategies. These are big projects that are going to be going on down there. Some of this could include clear direct or signage directing customers, a coordinated marketing effect to the communities, letting them know the businesses are open. Come down, visit us. And as sitting on the parking council, making sure that the parking is available to our residents, and just really and then finally ensuring that we're staying on a timeline. Any delays, in fact, they directly impact revenue. We'd love to avoid any of those things. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, just kind of echoing some of the items that you said. Communication's key. Keeping the surprises out of the way. I think we've done a pretty good job in the past, and also like Locust is already kind of in the works right now with getting community feedback, and that's business owners and also people that live in the area or people that visit the area. So a well-defined plan is what's needed, and true dates, true milestones. Locust will be closed day A through B, and we hold ourselves to that. With some of the projects we've worked on in the past, whoever is doing the utilities or the roads or whatever, their job is to get it done. They want to get it done quickly too. But working with our staff, there are ways to I'll say change approaches to construction or ripping up roads. For example, do we have to close the road, or can we keep one side open while the other one's being worked on? There's always a balance there. You need to keep to a tight schedule, but there are creative ways to work around it, because nobody wants to go downtown where they don't know which way the streets are going. So like you had mentioned, signage and communication. And then the chamber, I have no doubt, will, when these types of buildings or streets are done, really make a celebration of it so that people are aware of that. I think our specifically these projects we're talking about downtown, we're a hardy crew, and if the bar or restaurant we want to go to, you have to park a block or two away. and hike over move around a sawhorse or whatever, we'll do it. But just as far as people knowing what's to be expected, and then working very hard to keep those deadlines so that they don't get out of control.
As a 40-year resident of Hudson, downtown Hudson looks very different now than it did when I first moved here. When I moved here, everything was downtown. You grocery shop downtown, the dry cleaners, restaurants, whatever, everything was downtown. As the development on the top of the hill has increased, that has changed what the downtown area looks like. So although it's economic development, we're focusing on community development down there with living spaces for that will support those downtown businesses in economic growth. Again, I think our Planning and Zoning Commission have done a great job with some of the larger projects in guiding developers to not only have residential availability, but setting aside retail, commercials, or business space on a lower level of that to support economic growth in the downtown area. Again, not to repeat too much, but again, setting timelines, being very open and clear about what it's going to look like during the construction and after, so they can see what it potentially is going to look like when it's finished.
Just a reminder, if you have questions, feel free to write them and get them up to Mary Claire. We do have a couple from the audience, which we're going to head into right now. Lynn, we're going to start with you. You mentioned safety earlier, which is important to you. What is the city doing to create and maintain safe bike trails?
Well, I know that along I think it's industrial, they're looking at putting another bike trail in there so that it continues all the way around through that. I'm not on the park, so I don't know what the police, that necessarily public safety is dealing with the actual condition of the trails per se. But I can speak to the safety of the city in that our peace officers do an outstanding job of doing community policing, not just traffic. They're out and about, involved and engaged in things around our community.
Yeah, I know that we have a specific pedestrian and bike, I might be using that might not be the term for it, but a pedestrian and bicycle committee out there. Obviously, we have a master plan. We are always striving to become more pedestrian and bike friendly. There's just one thing standing in the way, which is money. So we have these plans, and we try to budget them. It's part of the parks. You are correct. We're again down to the dollar. We're trying to we're resurfacing a couple paths along the lakefront. I know that actually we just did that last year. So we're trying to keep the ones that are in place right now quite serviceable. And as developers come in, we're I don't know if I'll say the word requiring, but suggesting heavily that they keep that in mind. Not just here's our parking lot and here's our building, whether it be a sidewalk or a path or hooking up to some of our other paths that we have around. But I think that is a focus. A lot of our new parks that we've, depending on the size of them, of course, some of them are tucked into a neighborhood, so it's great for kids and playground equipment. But we do have some tracts of land that are truly park land, and as we develop them, we keep in mind that it could be green space and a biking path as opposed to picnic tables and all that, your traditional park. And I know which could take a lot more than 2 minutes. We're working hard right now, the park department and the city council as a whole, on the continuation of the trail up the river through North Hudson. That's going to take a lot of work. There's a lot of public hearings, and it's not just Hudson, it's North Hudson, it's St. Croix County, et cetera. So that's a big one. That's a goal for a lot of us to see that happen. We're still in the beginning stages of that, but that's kind of the next big trail that will probably happen.
And Kelli and Christopher, the same question, but a little bit tweaked a little bit. if elected, what would you like to see the city do in regards to safe bike paths? And Kelly, we'll start with you.
If elected, I mean, it would be wonderful to have bike paths available all over. I mean, I do see kids also riding through parks around town. And in some of those cases, it's where there isn't a safe zone for them to ride. I do think it's imperative that we continue to grow, but again, we're going to be faced with money challenges and what we can do, as Mike has stated. So just continue to develop and what are the options. But I do also believe that it is good with any development crews that come in, that we do continue to, as they are building a division or subdivision or some of these apartments, is there opportunity to throw in, or not throw in, but include the expansion of bike paths in our city. I think that would be wonderful for all of our communities.
And Christopher.
Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, so speaking of safety, if elected, what would you like to see the city do to enhance bike safety by creating bike paths?
Kind of the number one impediment that I've had when riding bike in Hudson has been the hills, so I don't know that there's a lot that can be done in that, but the
E-bikes.
e-bikes definitely help with getting up those hills, but I think kind of partnering with the local, kind of the topology of the land, like how the railroads has a more gradual slope to it. Putting bike paths along those sorts of infrastructure, or along the river, going up through North Hudson and then connecting to the system that's up in Stillwater and Holton in that area, I think would definitely help. And then also on the south side, connecting up how it is to the through Lakeland and Afton in that area, I think will definitely help. I don't know that there's some paths and trails south of town that it would be great to be able to connect from downtown to those, but there is still that hill in the way, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Next question, and we're going to start with Mike on this one, and then we'll go to Lynn. Knowing the importance of growth, which requires annexation for the city of Hudson, how do you propose to work with surrounding municipalities for the benefit of the city and the wider Hudson community?
Good question. Thanks for that.
You said it earlier, so that's why I started with you.
I said good question. No, that's a good question because, annexation, being on city council, we've heard, the city should annex more land and grow. If we want to build more apartments, more houses, let's annex more. Well, that's not a function of the city per se. Developers, need to be able to access land that's near us, and they basically start the process. And we either say yay or nay to that. I think step one on making that part of the kind of future planning, I think we have number one taken care of. Become an attractive community that people want to develop around and join. And it has to work for both for the existing citizens of the city. That growth has to be financially viable for us, as well as the new community that we're creating. So, again, you have to make yourself available. The developers are out there, and they know we're hungry for more land and more smart development. It doesn't mean you take whatever you can get. We have the ability to be kind of picky about what type of development gets added to our existing community. So, I'm sorry about the end of the question. What can we do to attract more?
So basically, work with surrounding municipalities for the benefit of the city and the wider Hudson community.
Yeah, I guess as we know where our exposed land is, it's obviously not to the east of us or to the north of us. So those areas, and we have been active, and there have been developers who have approached us, and we've started on that road. So I guess just remaining attractive and being interested to sit down the table and make sure it works for both parties.
One of the things that I believe would be attract potential communities to want to become part of, or developers to want to become part of Hudson. In Troy, right now, town of Troy, we have cooperated with our police department to put a substation there, which benefits the residents of Troy in that they're close, within a 5-mile radius now, for their insurance, or even to get insurance, cheaper insurance for their housing. That also has expanded the Hudson area of fire, but that becomes very attractive to development there when they know that they are in an area that is covered by our awesome fire department. Again, what he had said, we are an attractive community. People want to be here, and to continue to have economic and community development going on will attract builders or developers to come here, which would then expand Hudson.
Thank you. Christopher and Kelli, if elected, how would annexation play into your role as a city council representative? Christopher, we'll start with you.
I'm familiar with annexation. We do annexation as part of our software all the time, and it oftentimes it involves, the behind the scenes of what does this do to a person's tax bill. Mostly is kind of the judgment thing, but I think a lot of people look at it as part of their identity, whether they want to belong to the community or whether they want to remain in kind of a more rural, rural group. And so I think by making the community appealing, making them feel like they belong and that they want to belong, that'll be kind of the thing that people will make their decision upon. It'll be more of an emotional thing about belonging to the community that wants them.
Same question, Kelli.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So I do believe, I agree with everything that's being said up here, and I've heard the term friendly annexation, where there are communities out there, we talk about being attractive. We know we're attractive. But then there also are, I think, to the east of us, where many of those homes are still they have their own septic, sewer systems. Eventually, I do have to believe, and again, looking for developers, but being attractive, that's one thing, but then also eventually I do, and not that I want somebody's septic system to fail or have to be part of the city, but if we are that favorable looking city and the choice of joining the city, and again, that could impact taxes for that person, but again, putting in septic and sewer and doing all of that is also very expensive to those homeowners. And is there a certain point in time where they want to become part of the city, where they want to take that next step? And I do believe it's emotional. I grew up with septic in West Lakeland, and we still own my parents' house, and my brother lives there, and he's like, there's no way in heck I'm ever going to be part of the city. I want my sewer and septic. So I understand the emotional side of this, but there are so many more things that can be offered as being part of the city. And I'm hoping that people want to be part of that city feeling environment and be part of this community.
Thank you. Those are all the questions we have from our committee and from the audience. So we're going to move into our closing remarks, and we're going to start with Lynn. Give you 2 minutes to give us your closing remarks.
First of all, thank you very much for CCH for having this, holding this event. Thank you to the Chamber for this event so that we can talk about the issues facing Hudson. I look forward to serving another term. I got into the City Council kind of on an interesting path, but I'm so glad that I get to serve on that. I look forward to helping get the full-time fire department operational in the coming years so that we can have a safe and secure community, and to continue to support economic and community development within and expand in Hudson.
Yeah, again, thanks to everyone that came out today, and our hosts and hostesses. Mm-hmm. Thanks for putting this on. Great way to to have these types of conversations, because in our workaday world, my goal as a city council person is that you don't live in, a normal citizen doesn't live and breathe city council and politics and taxes like we signed up to do. So that's a good thing that you guys have wanted to check in on us, if you will. But I too look forward to serving again. And like I mentioned, being on the park board and public works, it really is satisfying to be able to hear from the community, whether it be a specific pothole or a specific sign for a particular park. It's good to know that people have a way to contact us, chat with us about us, and then we go to work and try to figure out the best solution for that. Again, it's not always the answer isn't always yes, but at least we can get you connected with the people that can help individuals. The idea that Lynn and I are both running unopposed, I like to think we're doing such a great job that that everyone's kicking back. But in all seriousness, I do want people, and again, thanks to you guys for stepping up in the opening. But there's a lot of people out in the community that I think have other opinions and maybe different backgrounds and gifts that they can share with our community. And with some of the heat and the politics that have been going on, again, luckily not so much in Hudson, but outside in the bigger communities, I just think that we have to be careful with that type of heat and volume, because there's really good people out in our community that probably want to step up and serve. And again, thanks for you guys doing it. But they say, I don't want to do that, even though they might have, they might be better in this seat than I am, for example. But they're shying away from it because of that. So let's remain a supportive community as we kind of wind our way through all these social issues that are going on. And remember that we should be lifting people up and supporting people that want to run for office or volunteer for a board, as opposed to shutting doors like I think I've seen in the past. So.
And Kelly.
Sure. Thank you, Chris. And thank you to everyone who is here today and being so inviting. I really appreciate it. To me, Hudson has always been a city that people choose to live. We choose to bring businesses here. We choose to raise our families and to build our life. I know that's what I have personally done. And I think what we are faced with today, at least I feel like standing from the outside looking in at the city council, is that will we grow strategically, or are we going to choose to just stand still and watch everything happen in the communities around us? We are at levy limits. You've heard that. We can't tax our way forward, so how are we going to do that? We don't want to cut essential services. We can't cut essential services. So we have to really be creative about how are we going to make change and make sure that the path forward is smart and intentional. So we do need to look at ways to expand our tax base, and so we can sustain services without burdening our taxpayers. We don't want to burden our taxpayers. And again, a lot of this means planning infrastructure development with vision, not hesitation. For 34 years, I mentioned I worked at Alina Health. I worked in complex systems that required accountability, transparency, and strong leadership. I feel like I have that today. I love serving on the Downtown Parking Commission. I feel very fortunate when people can reach out to me and ask me a question about downtown parking. You'd be shocked at how many questions I do get. So I always appreciate that. We have to continue to be reactive. We have to be proactive. We cannot be reactive. And I do believe we want to make this the place to live, not only for us, but our children and our grandchildren to raise their families here and continue to grow and build this community. Thank you.
And Christopher.
I want to thank you guys for all coming out and showing your love for us. I know this can be quite tedious and boring, but we all love you for it. We're at a point where our infrastructure, our growth, and our budget realities all intersect. If we want Hudson to stay strong, we have to make decisions that are honest about our constraints and ambitious about our future. That's the kind of work I've done my entire career, taking complex systems, making them understandable, and helping organizations plan for the long haul. I'm running because I believe District 3 deserves a representative who listens, who explains the why, and who treats public service as stewardship. If elected, I'll bring transparency, collaboration, and commitment to doing the work that lasts longer than any one term. I'd be honored to have your support.
And let's give a hand to our panel. Thank you for participating. Thank you for being in the audience of today's program. We look forward to continue to work together to ensure that Hudson area is a great place to live, work, visit, and do business. And now I'd like to welcome Mary Claire back up.
Thank you. Please join me in thanking Chris for moderating today's program. Really appreciate it. I want to thank our venue host, Christian Community Homes and Services, for hosting us today. It's always such a lovely space to be in. I want to thank our guest speakers for being here today. Thank you both for your willingness to step up and run. Thank you, Mike and Lynn, for continuing to serve. We know it is a lot of hours and a lot of time, but you get to work with Randy, too. But we do appreciate you serving. It is a lot of long hours and time, and we appreciate that. And for the two of you willing to step up, we appreciate that. So we have a lot of great events coming up, so I do hope you will join us, starting with lunch tomorrow and International Women's Day next Friday, Hudson Community Expo on May 3rd, and also the March Lucky Clover, which is a really fun program that we do. Thank you again for attending. You're welcome to stay and continue to connect and make some introductions to others maybe you haven't met with today, and want to thank Nate again. And don't forget to get out and vote on April 7th. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day.